This college basketball picks edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play Underdogs, pick them for a chance to win 100x. Promo code SGPN at UnderdogFantasy.com for a 100% deposit match. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. We're also brought to you by the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Enter their free Daytona 500 contest for a chance to win $100 cash and a $100 SGPN gift card at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Daytona.
Cox. He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome, everyone, to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner on picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer? Dog.
Just working on some caffeine. Gotta get the cold brew going. A little feels like I'm getting hydrated, but I'm not really getting hydrated. Just getting caffeinated.
Yeah, chat was all honorary for not starting on time. You can thank Ryan, Real Diva Kramer, for the late start time. Doesn't have his coffee boy getting his coffee. Joining us here to talk college hoops. You know him from the college basketball experience, Colby Dant, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. What's happening, Colby?
I'm doing great, and I love your guys' energy after I feel like you guys have been in Vegas for like a month. So you're doing a good job, all things considering, Green.
It does remind me of high school football 2-a-days, because it does feel like I'm experiencing 2 days at the same, like every day is 2 days, because when you wake up at 3:15, then host a 3-hour show, then I do a bonus hour show for BetUS NBA Pick Show, then I take a nap, then I wake up, then I do this podcast, then I go on other shows. It does feel like I'm getting 2 days in one in Las Vegas, but hey, hanging out circa.
It kind of reminds me of March Madness. You get like the early slate and then the late slate, and you remember the morning games like they happened yesterday. Yeah. It's really been tough schedule to get acclimated to.
Nick Fortune wanted to know how many times have been on the NFL slot machine. Kramer and I had a mini heater that then cooled off on the slot machine, but Kramer also had another hand pay on the I think it's the Colts and the Titans have been your two teams, Ryan. So if you believe the NFL slot machine to be the fortune telling oracle that we do, the Titans will be playing the Colts in the Super Bowl somehow. So maybe there's a pandemic like event. I don't know how it's going to happen, but according to this slot play, Colts and Titans both awesome next year.
Didn't you have two NL teams in the World Series? So maybe it's in.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, my Cubs Phillies World Series prediction, not completely. I was very close to hitting Justin Steele to win the Cy Young, mostly because Justin Steele is a listener to the show. Shout out to you, Justin. Got to get Justin on. I know he's a big NFL fantasy guy. We got to get him on the show, Ryan, talking fantasy, talking NFL draft props, whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean, I was sorry. I got distracted because I have this amazing view of the railroad tracks. I don't know if you're sharing the same view, Sean, but there appeared to be some sort of a fight that just broke out on the railroad tracks, and I was trying to zoom in my vision to see what was going on. Looks like it was a first round knockout, whatever happened.
Oh man, little boxcar fights. They got all the action here out in Las Vegas in the desert. We're going to get to some college basketball picks. Of course, Daytona 500 right around the corner. You can check out the episode we did a little bit back with the NASCAR Gambling Podcast, guys. And, of course, make sure to enter the Daytona 500 contest. Very easy. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Daytona. Grand prize, $100 cash and a $100 SGPN merch gift card, courtesy of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. So check out those guys. And also check us out. Colby will be on our VSiN show as well tomorrow morning, bright and early. Again, we're live 4 to 7 West Coast, but that's 7 to 10 East. And it's not only VSiN.com, YouTube TV, but a bunch of regional cable places.
Nesson in the New England markets, Masson in Baltimore, Marquee, not exactly sure where that is, and then you have AT&T Pittsburgh. We're on in LA, Sean, and of course all over Canada. Colby's really
Rogers.
Colby's gonna really tap into the Canadian audience, I can tell.
Yes, I'm looking forward to hosting the CFL Gambling Podcast. Subscribe and I'm curious, would you guys consider yourself football guys? Because you guys did I haven't listened to the NASCAR episode yet, but Joe Gibbs has a race team. I hope you guys keyed in on that. If not, I'm very disappointed in your, questionable. We're gonna review. That's under review. If you guys are football guys, if you didn't go with the Joe Gibbs race team.
Well, actually, I have a large future on Mr. Tyler Reddick, who is part of Joe Gibbs Racing.
Oh,
so thank you for trying
to
throw some shade at us.
Football guy. There we go.
Walked right into it, Colby.
You did. You really did walk into it.
Let's get to the touting. Nice winning week again for the group consensus plays. I know we didn't really do much on the podcast last week because of the Super Bowl, but taking a look, consensus plays now 103, 75, and 2 for a whopping 58%. Colby 57% with his locks. Kramer 58% with his locks. Me with a 69% lock percentage. Ooh. Nice. So let's hit some locks. My dogs are horrible. My dogs are 17%. It is embarrassing. I haven't been able to hit a college basketball dog to save my life. And if you listen to the VSiN show, I had Wyoming. I had it at +8. That was a heartbreaking push that I got it at. They hit a 3 to go up 6. Then they foul with 4 seconds. Utah State hits both free throws, and then they don't attempt a shot. Why intentionally foul if you're not going to attempt a shot after? I don't get it.
You still gave away a winner though, because most people got 8.5.
There you go. See, I gotta work on the Pick Dundee School of Touting. Yeah, most of you guys, I got on the right side of that.
That thing was at 8.5 for a long time. All right, if you got the shorter end of the number, well, you didn't lose money. You didn't lose money either. So you got to just
Sure.
Better way to say that, Kelby, is if you got the wrong of the worst of the number there, that's on you. That's on you, Sean.
Yes. Yeah. I gave you Wyoming. I said get the best number. What you do with that information is your own fucking business.
Oh, you bought eggs at 7-Eleven for $8? That's on you.
Yeah, right. I said buy eggs. I assume you're going to get the best price.
All right, let's hop over. We're skipping the Friday slate. There was no requirement from management since the 9 p.m. to midnight show is not on this week to get any sort of late night Mountain West action. So we're jumping right ahead to Saturday. I'm going to guess that Colby doesn't feel like this is the most lit slate of the season like he typically does on a Saturday, but still pretty good. 9 a.m. We're heading right to Charlottesville for some reason. I wonder, maybe that's when they launder all the white sheets at 9 a.m. to get the good crowd out there. Wake Forest in town, Virginia. The Wahoos still don't know what one of those are. Maybe it's a cute sword. Maybe it's a fish. I don't know. Virginia laying 3.5. Colby?
This is a bigger game than even I realized before when I was doing this on the sheet, and then I was just doing my homework right before the show, and I was like, "Wait a second, Wake Forest! If they're 2.5 games back, Virginia's in front of them. Wake Forest has a very favorable schedule. This is the hardest game left on Wake Forest's schedule. If they're able to win this game, knowing that Duke, Carolina, and Virginia all play each other, Wake Forest plays none of them besides UVA, that is." And they're in a great spot if they can win this game. The problem is those at Wake Forest and Steve Forbes are 2-6 on the road. Virginia is 13-1 at home and just suffered that one loss to Pitt because Pitt just was on fire from 3 the other night. So I think you got to go the Wahoos, and it's Tony Bennett. He wins the ACC regular season every year. You win this, they host Carolina, and I think next week is it. And then they could win the ACC, and they probably will because that's what he does every year in the regular season. So I'll take the Wahoos, and I think it's a pretty good play.
Now, are these actual lines or are these Prick Dundee?
No, these are Prick Dundee lines.
Can Ken Palm has it's closer to
Uh-oh.
1. I think if you're giving me 3.5 with the with Wake Forest, the team that's second in the nation at the free throw line, I'm taking that all day. I think this is going to be a 1-score game. It's going to be a little closer than 3.5. So if I'm getting 3.5, I'm taking it.
The contrast in styles too. Virginia is 362nd in pace out of 363 teams. Wake Forest is like a top 100 team in pace, or I think like 102 or something like that. So it's absolute bonkers from a X's and O's standpoint. I just think Virginia at home is just a fucking wagon. So and they're gonna make Wake Forest feel uncomfortable, and that's to me, yeah.
Yeah, they also speed up their opponent. I think that's part of where their pace comes from. And so Virginia doesn't typically let teams do that to them. I hate to lay the points here, but I agree with Colby.
Wow.
I got a quick Virginia story. So I went up to the window to get my which, by the way, Colby, Virginia Tech returning 96% of their production, 500-1 at the window right now to be the college football playoff champions. I almost accidentally bet on Virginia. Fun fact: Virginia's price in football to win the national championship, 5,000-1. So shout out to the Wahoos. I'm saying something nice about them for that. All right. Texas Tech heads to Ames, Iowa, where Iowa State, Colby, very, very quickly becoming a team that I think I'm going to want to invest in come tournament time, conference, and March Madness. They've now won a couple tough road games. They're the classic rock fight team. We've typically said, well, away from Ames, we might not want to look to back them, but they're in Ames for this one. They're laying a big number. Are we taking the other side, or are we laying it with one of my new favorite teams from the Big 12, Iowa State?
Yeah, let's talk about TJ Altenberger. This is year 3 for him, and they haven't been able to win on the road traditionally under him or score. Like they haven't been able to create their own shots really. This team has been, they've won at TCU, they've won at Texas, they won at Cincinnati the other night. I was on a show this morning, and they were asking me what's a smart Final Four play that has value. Iowa State, I think, is at plus 500. Worth taking a shot, because you start winning on the road in college basketball in the regular season at some of these lit environments. Look at UConn last year. That was a team that was winning on the road. They did pretty well for themselves. Same with San Diego State. You know, they went into the pit one a year ago, one of the hardest places to play. Traditionally, that pays off in March. So just an idea there. I'm all over Iowa State though. Texas Tech on the road, they're not the same. They're 2-4 on the road, and I just think right now this Iowa State team's playing at an unbelievable level. They're 14-0 at home. They have the 3rd best defensive rating in the nation. And Texas Tech's got the 28th best offense. They're gonna put the kibosh on that offense, and then Iowa State is a top 30 offense too. So I'm on the Clones. Lay the points.
Yeah, I mean, winning in Cincinnati, that was a really impressive win. I mean, and maybe it was just because I was trying to take my hat off and explain why Cincinnati got their ass kicked at home, but I mean, Iowa State is so good. The defense through the roof. Turnover percentage #1 in the nation, and especially at home, it's going to be tough. I mean, 8.5, you're getting really up there as far as like what I think you can lay and still cover this spread, because I do think,
I wouldn't go past 10. Wouldn't go past 10.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit shorter, but I'll take Iowa State laying the number. 8.5 is at the max as far as what I would lay. I don't. To your point, definitely not laying double digits, but 9 and below, I think Iowa State.
Another thing is, and shout out to Trevor in the chat. Texas Tech just beat Kansas and stormed the court. Great way to great spot to fade that.
Now, was this a multi-person court storming, or was this
how about Detroit? By the way, which by the way, if you've been listening to the college basketball experience, we've been circling that game for about 2 weeks. We're like, Valentine's Day, Detroit's going to get their first win of the season. It was a tragic Magic situation with Earl Curitin, their play-by-play announcer passing away a few weeks ago. Rest in peace to the former Detroit Piston. And what a great storm, right? Storm, non-plural, right? What a great storm by that guy.
We had Noah on our show on VSiN super early, and we decided to call that a drizzle. It wasn't a storm. It was just one guy. And we also came up with the idea of we need you guys doing like a 5-day forecast. highlighting potential storms, what the percentage will be. Maybe
like
get
that.
Colby like in front of a green screen talking about some atmospheric rivers and some pressures coming in from the Northeast. It was the I don't know if you saw the full video. The full video is hilarious because I mean the still shot's great, but the full video shows the second guy start to come out to storm, do the fist pump, like walk 1 foot onto the court, and then just turn around and be like, "All right, I'm out of here."
Now, I did say, and I did this without talking to you guys. I said, if anybody knows the guy who stormed, get him in touch with us. We're gonna hook him up. We're gonna hook him up. I don't even know what we're gonna hook him up with. We got to get him a gift card or something. But we're anyone know that guy out there? For the hospital, please tag us in that, and we'd like to reach out.
Yeah, and Sean and I also learned about how Dick Vitale's ties to the great University of Detroit Mercy.
Yes, former coach. Yeah.
Yeah, I think 100%. Two things that the college experience team has on assignment. One, we need the storm report. It's going to be like some sort of forecast. And then two, we need some court storming gear. We need to make sure that court stormers feel safe. Yeah, I don't know if it's a poncho. Maybe it's just a hoodie with a cool logo. Maybe it's a bucket hat.
Like the Caddyshack bucket hat. Yeah,
the
like
college experience ponchos would be a pretty epic thing to get distributed out. The one to close up the bow on the Iowa State game. The one thing I would say is they've lost all the games they've lost, which by the way have not been at home. They've done so to teams that have been able to get a little hot from behind the 3-point line. So Texas Tech does profile as a team that could potentially give them problems, but not in Ames, no Moss. All right. TCU, another team I've circled as a team that just possesses some qualities that I like to bet on towards the end of the season here. TCU now heads to the Little Big Apple, Manhattan, Kansas, where the Wildcats are laying a point, 9 a.m. on the West Coast. Colby, Big 12 home team still riding with that?
I am, even though, K-State has definitely, lost a little more than I feel like they lost a year ago, but they're still 11-2 at home, and they're in the more desperate spot. TCU is a tournament team right now. K-State is one of those ones fighting for their everyday life. Possible storm situation. I mean, maybe a little bit of a possible storm situation, but
now why would you storm? This is insane. I mean,
just because it's TCU,
favored, you're favored by 1 point. What are we talking about? You could storm if you won in Kansas, sure, or sorry, if you won against Kansas, which they did. Did they storm against Kansas, Colby, on Monday?
Actually, they did not, and Kramer tagged me in this because Jerome Tang, the head coach, went up into the crowd. And Kramer, I think, was trying to say that this is better than a court storm. I strongly disagree, but I do appreciate the coach getting out there.
Tang.
What does he say in Dumb and Dumber? Mingling with those laid back country folk. All right. So I will take Kansas State at home. Like, to me, they're in the more desperate spot. They're playing a lot better than they were at the beginning of the season. So I will take the Wildcats. I just think, being there in Manhattan, also their defense has gotten better and better. Got some guys healthy. That was part of the problem. They had some injuries early in the year, and also the Tomlin situation with him ending up at Memphis. So K-State, take it. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm with you. Defense, to your point, Colby, getting better. This feels like a pretty close game. I don't know why you wouldn't just take the home team, especially in the Big 12. Kansas State coming off that loss at BYU, that was always going to be a tough spot, let down spot after beating Kansas. I think they bounce back here. TCU, I don't know. I haven't had a great handle on this TCU team, but yeah, I don't know. TCU is pretty good, but I would say on the road, you got to take Kansas State here. Although, TCU has had some nice road wins, including at Oklahoma State, at Baylor. They did lose at Iowa State, but yeah, I would still say Kansas State.
It's going to be a one or two possession game. It's going to come down to that. I'm just thinking that the crowd will be the difference in the game. Kramer, what are you doing?
Oh, you guys are crazy. I'm on TCU. I think that there's going to be an issue with turnovers for Kansas State, and in a pick'em 1-point spread. No, thank you. I mean, Kansas State bottom 15 in the nation in turnover percentage. Sean, I thought you were a classic handicapper here. This is an easy one. TC, and also I've come back around on as much as I know. Also, I didn't warn you ahead of time, but this is the Tang gang. Colby's top 5 coaches he secretly has man crushes on. Jamie Dixon, the hair shows up. Let's go. TCU on the road.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Kansas, but I'm not. This is not going in one of my locks.
Oh my God, we're gonna get a 3-star review for that. It's Kansas State, Sean. They're different schools.
Yeah, I know.
Texas A&M heads to Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I mean, were you really confused as to who I was discussing there? No,
I'm a sharp. I just wanted to make sure our audience wasn't confused. Texas A&M heads to Tuscaloosa, Alabama to take on the Red Elephants. Bama laying 11. Boy, what has become of my sweet Buzz Williams and this Texas A&M squad, Colby?
We were on Vanderbilt the other night, man. What a game, the game winner. But this is a great spot to buy into the buzzsaw. You know, I know Alabama whooped them last year by like 19, but Texas A&M's a veteran team. And to me, if you can't get this one after losing to Vanderbilt, you want to right the ship. You're gonna have to step up and play good in Tuscaloosa here. So I will take the points. Look, surprisingly, A&M's defense isn't as good as I thought it would be this year. It's still decent, but it's not as good as the defense as I thought it would be. But let's be honest. Alabama's defense has been ass all year. They live and die by this Paul Westhead philosophy: run up the court, shoot a million shots. And that sometimes that can blow teams out. But I think Texas A&M's in the more desperate spot here, and don't sleep on them. They have a 67th best offensive rating against a 221st defense. I know the place gets lit. I don't care. Give me the points. A&M's going to hang in this game. Sprinkle a little bit on that money line.
Yeah, I mean, Texas A&M very good at getting their own shots back. Offensive rebounding percentage #1 in the nation, but man, their offense has been I don't know, not effective field goal percentage. Ryan, 336 in the nation. Alabama defense not amazing by any point to Colby's, but can they get enough points to cover this game? Alabama's offense is pretty fire, especially at home. That would be the concern.
The formula for Texas A&M is because it is when you look at their offensive profile, like in terms of actually playing offense, they look like relative trash. But if you look at it through the lens of they're going to get a lot of second chance opportunities against this Alabama team. If there's one thing Alabama doesn't do at a top level, it's rebound. Texas A&M does rebound at an elite level. They also take care of the basketball. And so to that point, this is a big number. And unless that's the problem though, Buzz typically his teams play the 3-point line. They hustle. And this team isn't doing that. But to Colby's point, it's a big enough number, and I think they're going to get enough easy second chance points against this Alabama defense on the offensive glass. Of course, I'm taking the points. I mean,
they're going to need to hit some threes. If they hit some threes, they can win this game. But they've been horrible at shooting the three. A&M has, but
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, they hit some threes, but that's been their problem. They can't hit threes.
But the key is though letting Alabama get out on the break and getting those threes. Again, that's going to be tough against the #1 offensive rebounding team in the country in Texas A&M. All right, we're moving along to 9.
Guys.
Go ahead, Sean. Sorry.
Texas A&M. No, I will take Texas A&M. I was just making sure we weren't overlooking the angle here for Alabama.
You still have your A&M overalls, Sean?
Yes, they're in the washer.
Lieutenant Cheer over here. I served 5 years in the military, running the parades and cheer squad at Texas A&M.
Me and Lasty have done our time. We're veterans. Leave us alone.
Does that get you access to USAA and Navy Federal Credit Union, or is it, you have to serve?
One of my favorites is the Mike Leach quote. It's like, they're not actually serving anybody, right? He's like, I'm confused by A&M. What do they do? They dress up in militant gear, but they're not serving anybody.
It's the ultimate in pageantry, Colby. You wouldn't understand. 9:30 a.m. We're heading to Indy, where I don't know if you know, Colby, but a big weekend for Indy this week. Where the NBA is showing up in a couple weeks. The NFL will be showing up to Indy, but in this one, a classic matchup. Creighton heads to Butler. Butler catching a point at home here. Sean and I might feel a little bit snake bitten after Butler didn't get to the number of 4 the other night. Which
how big was that banked in 3 by Marquette at the 2? Butler cuts the lead to 2 with like 2 minutes left. It's looking like Butler has all the momentum in the game, and they hold the Marquette's team to like what 4 or 5 seconds on the shot clock. Then they banks in a 3 from straight on. Just when that went in, you knew your ticket was cash. You're just like, okay, if this is going to go in, you know what I mean? Syracuse did the same thing against Carolina. But I mean, I like Butler in this spot. I know Creighton's been playing really good lately, and Creighton's actually they've proven that they're a good team on the road. They're 6-3 on the road. But once again, I think this is Butler was in that game the other day. You know, I mean, I know they were down double digits early, but they battled back. I like this Thad Matta team. I'm going to take the Bulldogs. Once again, I think they're also in a little bit more desperate spot here. And at Hinkle, they've proven their worth. They're 11-3 at home, and I think that's all the reason why you take the Bulldogs there.
Yeah, I mean, Creighton is a bet on team at home, kind of a fade on the road, unless the spot really warrants it. I mean, they lost at Providence, they've lost at UConn, which, I mean, that's obviously a super tough spot, but they lost at Seton Hall in triple overtime, lost at Marquette, lost at Villanova. I don't know. This Butler team, that was a frustrating loss, but I'm with you, Colby. I think you got to ride them again. Ball home dog should get the outright win.
Thad Matta might be distracted. Ohio State jobs opened up for him. Look, the Creighton just played Butler, and it took Butler shooting over 50% from the 3-point line to participate in a shootout in that one. You got revenge here for Creighton, a team that actually can possess that kind of shooting acumen in a game in, game out basis. So I'll taking another road team here. Give me the chalk, or I guess it's probably not the chalk here, but lay the points with Creighton for me. All right. We got a classic matchup here between the Houston Cougars and the Texas Horns Downs. I still haven't figured out how to say that correctly. 10 a.m. on the West Coast. Houston laying 10 at home. Boy, that's a big number here.
Oh man, I feel like you got to take the points here. As much as I hate it, I just
Horns
feel like,
up, baby.
I just feel like Texas is too talented. Now, I mean, Houston's 13-0 in this building, so it's tough to fade that. But Texas with that NIL, they have arguably one of the most talented rosters in all of college basketball. To think that they couldn't cover 10, when this was a 4-point overtime game before Texas almost won this outright in regulation. So I feel like Texas can hang in this game. I'm a little concerned about the energy of that building, but Houston, number 1 defensive team, but Texas is a top 100 defensive team, and I think that their height can give because Houston's an interesting team. They kind of play small ball, like they have athletes, but they play small ball. Well, Texas has height, and I feel like Texas can present some problems with that, just like they did in Austin. So I will take the points. Unfortunately, Horns up.
You feel all right?
No,
Colby,
I don't.
Is everything you got a fever?
I feel disgusting. I feel disgusting.
He's got a fever. The only thing that can cure it is some cowbell from these from the Texans. I think you got to go Longhorns here as much as it pains Colby. I mean, they've won in some big spots, including at Cincinnati on January 9th. That was a nice win for them. At Oklahoma, 15-point win by margin. They got it done against TCU on the road. I think, how did they not hang with this Houston team? To Colby's point, I'm slightly worried Houston gets up for this and really shows out, but I think you got to go Texas here.
Yeah, I mean, just you look at the game they played. It took overtime, but they did kind of control the game for the most part. And this is another matchup where you dive in and you realize, like, oh boy, Houston's going to give them a little bit of problems on the offensive glass. And you mentioned the size, but if the laziness of rebounding doesn't show up, I think Houston, with the energy of the building, certainly could create problems here. And then, oh, by the way, they're going to have the ball pressure is going to be a problem. I think it's going to take some sort of elite individual effort from someone on Texas to get this done. I'm laying the points. Big
Horns
number,
down,
but
Ryan.
Horns down. Again, I'm shocked to hear Colby's taking Texas. That was the red flag of all red. And he wasn't even committed to it. He's just kind of like, yeah, I guess I have to.
Horns up, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
I am a Texas Longhorns fan.
10 a.m. on the West Coast. We're in Athens, Georgia. Where do they call this a cocktail party on the hardwood? Florida, Georgia, -3.5. And I don't know. How's our boy Blue Cane doing?
Oh, they've lost 5 in a row, and to me, the season is blowing up right in front of their face. This is a must-win game, but luckily for them, it's Snow White's nemesis, the team he left. He felt underappreciated. Mike Snow White, the coach of Georgia now after leaving Florida. This game was crazy. The first time they played, Florida was up like 20 points. Georgia cut it all the way to send the game to overtime, and Florida won in overtime. I think this is just such a desperate spot. If Georgia wants any chance of going dancing, they have to win this game, and they have opportunities. They host Auburn, they host A&M, they host Ole Miss. They have a trip to the jungle, which I highly doubt they'll win, but they got to start winning some of these games. 5 in a row. It's got to end here. Give me the dogs. Don't let the dogs get hot, Sean.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This Georgia team might just be bad. I know they're in a desperate spot, but I guess you want to lean towards.
They lost to Arkansas.
Yeah, that's true.
And Colby, you liked Arkansas in that matchup. I think I appreciate the. You know what? Let's take the home team. Desperation mode, like you said. The coach will be up for this one. What do they say in the SEC? It just means more.
Yeah, I think in conference home dogs, I'm always going to look to them, but hopefully these Georgia dogs got a little bite. They need it. Yeah, I'll take Georgia plus 3.5. Enjoy Florida, chat.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, give them that. Give them the Gators on the road. Maybe that Gator will turn into some roadkill after some street racers come by. Who knows?
Hey, have you guys signed up over at UnderdogFantasy.com using the promo code SGPN? If not, what are you waiting for? Get that 100% deposit match up to $100. Colby, what are some fantasy entries you like? Higher, lower? What do we see here on the college basketball slate for some pick'em entries that you think might have some value here?
Let's go. I'm pulling it up right now. Let's go to Northwestern Rutgers today.
Rutgers.
Rutgers at the rack is that's a horse of another color, they say. Mawat Mag.
Well, we can't get into racial stuff here, Colby.
That was a John Elway joke. Mawat Mag, all over higher than 4 rebounds. Get over there. This guy's gonna look. Northwestern, it's a fun little story. You're great at home. All right. But when these private school pussies come to Jersey, they're getting put in the mud. All right. Mag, Mawat Mag, higher than 4 rebounds. Let's start there. Also, let's go to Temple at Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic, you met magical Final Four run a year ago. John L. Davis, one of the best players in college basketball. I will take the higher than 18.5 points with him because he is awesome.
Mawat, all-time first name, Mawot. Now how do people figure out how to pronounce Mawat? But every Uber driver and coffee person still calls me Scene. Like, have you not seen the name Sean? What the hell is going on out here? Mawat Mog, all-time great name. So rattle off the entry one more time, Colby.
Yes, we are jumping on John L. Davis, higher than 18.5 points, and Mawat Mag, higher than 4 boards. Easy money right there.
Yes, and a $100 entry would win you $300 over at UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. If you want a free $100 entry, just deposit $100 using the promo code SGPN. Let's go.
Colby, I assume when you were referring to the mud at the rack, you meant to say marinara? Gravy, maybe even.
I am getting. I did see someone had a legalized marinara on Fremont Street T-shirt, so we are working on getting Kramer a legalized marinara.
It's an excellent shirt, Colby. Which, by the way, I don't think we commented on it, but we're happy to see that you're alive after consuming that 40-year-old gum. By the way,
Let me tell you.
Oh yeah, that was a disgusting act.
The best comparison I could say is powdered milk. Tastes like powdered milk. Like when you and that was not scripted. That was just Noah was talking about, and I was like, I have old baseball packs right here that our friend Tommy Gimler had sent me that I just never opened. I still have one that's unopened. This one I opened, which was the old. So we can do the gum experiment again if we want.
Wait, you rewrapped it? No. The baseball card pack.
Oh yeah, this one, yes.
Yeah.
This one is the one I opened. Well, I like to.
Trying to resell it. Get some ABC gum.
No, I don't sell my gems. I don't sell my gems, but this one here, sitting over here, look at that. That's still packaged. All right, the gum. I can feel the gum in there. We might have to. I'll save it for a special occasion. Give the wife
Kramer.
some.
Maybe that's a Patreon pick'em prize. Colby Dant ABC trading card gum. We can give the viewer a private video just sent directly to you of Colby eating old gum. A very small percentage of the audience would love that video. And hey, reminder, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon, weekly Patreon pick'em contest. We're giving away $100 NBA future. And sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. This week's pick'ems all NBA All-Star Game related. We also got the NFL futures sheet and college basketball sheet as well. If you're too lazy to look up the website or do the digging for the futures, Kramer.
Oh, we also have a graphic with all of our All-Star Game. Everything's going. Yeah, everything's in there.
We got it. We got the new first half under angle for the All-Star Game. Check out the episode to hear the details.
Undergang, the From Under Gang. I think we're working on something there. All right, let's head over to Tallahassee, where the disgusting waters of Tallahassee, Florida, welcome the private school pussies, aka the Illuminati of Duke. The Blue Devils laying 4.5 here on the road. Colby, explain to me what this number is all about. Florida, no thank you on Florida State. Like, why wouldn't we just? I
even jumped it up some because Duke gets that love. But Florida State's been one of the hardest teams to read in all of college basketball this year. For a minute I was like calling for Leonard Hamilton to be fired, and then they rattled off like I think 6 or 7 in a row. This team lost to Louisville, right? Not only that, they lost to Lipscomb. So, but they also have some decent wins. They beat UNLV, they beat Colorado. They've won some games within the ACC that I don't think a lot of people thought. Took down Wake Forest, took down Jimmy Larinaga and Miami. Won at Syracuse. The line was a little fishy to me when I was plugging this in, but I think you got to take Duke. Duke's playing for the regular season championship. And not knowing what Florida State we're going to get, and that stadium that stadium's been weak. That stadium's like half empty. So I will take Duke minus the points there in Tallahassee there at the Donald Tucker Civic Center.
I know I just said I lean to conference home dogs, but I think you got to make an exception here, especially in this matchup. I mean, Duke has been kind of a beast. Once they got rid of that dud, Coach Gay sent him to the Garden. They've been playing really well, but also this is just a fate of Florida State at home has just not been good. They lost to Virginia. I mean, listen to their last few home games. They lost to Virginia, lost to UNC, lost to Clemson. Those are all beatable teams, especially at home. If you want to consider yourself any sort of contender in the ACC here, I see the case why they get up for it, but I just think this Duke team is just in another class talent-wise. So yeah, give me Duke laying the number.
Yeah, you look at the Florida State's performances. They opened the year 2024 with a 3-game home winning streak and have not won since January 9th at home. They've had some nice show up spots on the road, but to Colby's point, this stadium, what's the opposite of lit? It's soggy. The stadium is soggy.
Now I do wonder if since Duke's in town, do they show up? But they haven't showed up all year. I'm wondering, you think they will pack this place because Duke's there?
Did they show up for UNC?
Show up.
A little more than normal, I would say.
I mean, even UVA. I just, and maybe it's a little too close to the situation. I just watched them play my Hokies, who aren't exactly the best team in the country, and this Florida State team just strikes me as a team that is not like they're not. I don't want to say they're not well coached because we think the coach is decent, but they don't look like they're practicing well. It just
he's
seems
also
like
75 years old, so I always wonder if he's, how in tuned are you? You might just be like, yeah, let me close out my contract, looking at some beachfront property in Barbados or something. Yeah, I don't know. Do people still go to Barbados? I feel like that was an 80s thing. I'll see you in Barbados. Let's go to Barbados.
It's a great thing to say. It just sounds fun to say. Barbados, Turks and Caicos. You got all these fun rhyming countries of the Caribbean. Yeah, I'm laying the points with you guys. I would say though that not to have too much commentary on Prick Dundee's numbers. I kind of think this is going to get bet up. So if you like Florida State, maybe wait.
I added like a 1.5 or 2 to the number that I was seeing. So
I just this Florida State. I hard to know who's going to back them. All right, 11:15 on the West Coast. We got Iowa City, Iowa, aka the Hawkeyes, hosting Wisconsin. Lots of staples. We're going to be reloading our staplers here. Get those those clips ready.
They're calling this the Swing Line series, brought to you by Swing Line Staplers.
The other night, Wisconsin let me down against the all-quit Ohio State Buckeyes as they somehow let Ohio State back inside the number late. Wisconsin laying 2 on the road here. Don't understand that at all. It seems like a good Big Ten home spot here. Colby, what do you think?
Yeah, I got to take Iowa. I mean, Iowa played them tough at Wisconsin. I think that score was even a little deceiving. And Wisconsin's 3-6 on the road. I can't take road staples. All right. That's a rule. You can't take road staples.
Especially road chalk staples. Like I think the wrong team is favored in this spot. I mean, in general, I'm always going to look to Iowa at home, always look to the Big Ten team at home, unless there's another reason. But I mean, look at who is Wisconsin to be laying points on the road? 1-4 on their last 5. And to Kramer's point, their one win was against an Ohio State team at home who's clearly quit. And then look at these other. They lost at Rutgers. They lost at Michigan. I mean, you're losing at Michigan.
Loss,
this Michigan team's horrible. And they lost to Nebraska in OT. I mean, Nebraska has been pretty good at home. They lost to Penn State on the road. They did beat the Gophers. But I mean, look at how they've been on. In conference on the road, it's been bad. So yeah, I think I think the streak continues. Iowa's a home dog here is pretty intriguing.
Iowa's 10-3 at home too. I mean, they're always good at home, give or take,
Yeah, I'm with you.
Occasional upset. Yeah. What's that?
Wisconsin, their only real good road win was Minnesota in my mind. I know the Michigan State one happened earlier in the season, so maybe we discard it. But yeah, give me Iowa. It feels a little dirty to take a dog here, but definitely I'm agreeing with Sean. Wrong team favored. All right, we got Marquette, aka the guys who screwed us against Butler, so we're not happy with them right now.
No,
Shaka,
against Butler, yes,
not cool. But now Marquette heads to Hartford, Connecticut, to take on UConn, and oh boy, UConn has been dominant this year. Some would say. Marquette, when they step up, I feel like we're getting an inconsistent product, and I don't know what it is about this Marquette team. I used to love Shaka. They're on a hot streak right now, but I still find myself wanting to take Connecticut here.
Yes. Look, maybe if it was in Milwaukee, but I'll gladly lay the 8, especially when you have a team that's won 8 straight coming into UConn. You don't think UConn knows that? This building's going to be on fire. Look, UConn's the defending champs. I understand that Marquette can say they're the defending Big East champs, but no, UConn is playing at an elite level. I think Marquette has been kind of fortunate to get by a couple teams. I'm on the Huskies. I think they blow them out. I think they win by 14, 15 points.
Yeah, I know. I mean, hats off to Marquette. They've had some nice road wins. Butler, Georgetown. Who cares? But Butler, Villanova, even St. John's. Those are all nice, tough road wins. I think this UConn team, though, is on another level. Also, Dave Dizzy in the chat will be there He's a Huskies fan. I think that's going to be enough to swing this game. Laying 8 at home is a really good price, and it does.
Dave, take a photo, tag us in that, man. Let us know you're at the game. Show us where you're at. Show us where you're sitting. Show us how lit it is.
Oh, dude,
Trevor, of course, saying UConn is going to dog walk them. Like the idea of the dogs taking someone on a dog walk. Also love that expression. Ryan, I forgot to tell you, I was walking around in the sportsbook here down in Circa, probably a little intoxicated, and I turned and I'm like, oh, that dude looks like Mike Tyson. And then I'm like walking around like, is that Mike Tyson? And then I remembered Mike Tyson has a face tattoo. So great way to remind yourself whether or not, Colby, of course, ran into Carl Weathers at the
Rest
airport.
in peace, by the way. Rest in peace, man.
Definitely not Carl Weathers. Shout out to Carl Weathers.
That was me hoping. Rest in peace to the great Carl Weathers, former San Diego
Real
State
true.
Aztec, former Oakland Raider, under coach.
Really had an
John
awesome
Madden,
life,
Played in the CFL, subscribed to the CFL Gambling Podcast with the BC Lions, and then obviously, come on, Happy Gilmore and
stop
Rocky.
The CFL podcast. People are going to actually
like
think
this.
there's a podcast.
I'm doing the CFL podcast this year. It's happening. All right. I can
Carl
already
Weathers.
taste the maple syrup. All right.
You have to chug a bottle of maple syrup. If you can get, that's the thing. If you can get 1,000 YouTube video views on you of chugging maple syrup, we will greenlight the CFL podcast. That's the only way.
Well, it does seem like they've figured out how to tap into the have Colby do dumb shit, get more followers. I mean that is the internet nowadays.
Yes.
Yes. Rest in peace to the great Carl Weathers. All right.
Really lived an amazing life. I mean, to play professional football, even though if it was the CFL, and to be an action movie star.
No, he played in the NFL too. He played on the Raiders for a couple years. Yeah,
it's true. Real professional football, and just awesome life. So shout out to you, Carl Weathers. But getting back to the Huskies, they're at home. I think they seem to thrive on top-notch competition. I mean, I think they'll be excited for this game. I think they're going to cook them. They have not lost a home game, so. Nation's longest active win streak at 13, aka Taylor Swift's number. I know Ryan was going to get to that, but Kramer, what do you like here? Huskies?
Well, I think there's a little Colby can elaborate, but I believe Hurley and Shaka have a little bit of friction.
I mean, Hurley kind of does that with every. I mean, his little temper tantrums that remind they're like. But Hurley has,
Hurley has found a way to create like an enemy. Like Shaka is like that winning the Big East last year. Like it's like the one kind of target on a team that won the national championship. So
you know who Hurley's become? Grayson Allen of coaching.
Oh, that's excellent.
Because it's so entitled. It's so over the top. It's just like, and if you see him do his movements where he gets upset, it just reminds me of Grayson Allen. You just want to punch him in the face,
Yeah, he was so brave last year to stop being a complete asshole. He's like, my wife told me I was being an asshole on the court, and I tried to calm down. It's like, dude, you're so brave for doing that. Wow, Mr. Hurley. Tell us more about your success
and his spiel on mental health after he's like, I got depressed after winning the national championship. Shut the fuck up. No one's gonna have sympathy for you. All right, get out of here. Just if that's true, keep it to yourself. How about that?
And by the way, Sean,
Tropicana Banana saying Colby picking cat shit out of the litter box did get a lot of views.
Colby's behind now that Colby's at home a lot more. The behind the scenes stuff I think is really going to take off. And Sean,
BTS Colby, yes,
you can't give Colby shit for not recognizing the real Carl Weathers at the airport after your Chris Tucker, Eddie Griffin situation.
Well, I mean, come on, they're both famous comedians, Ryan. That's the only thing they share, and that's all I saw was a famous comedian. And oh yeah, I did. Eddie Griffin saying, "I've been to no motherfucking Epstein Island" was possibly the greatest comeback of all time, and I don't regret it because getting to see Eddie Griffin get mad and then start laughing after he said, "I've been to no motherfucking Epstein Island," it was well worth it.
I mean, it is such a great comeback. It also just highlights how many times he's had to deal with that shit. I'm also on UConn laying the points. Kansas, 1 p.m. on the West Coast, heads to Norman, Oklahoma. Oklahoma catching a point here. Still no reports on Porter Moser picking up the phone and calling Sister Jean. I think this could be the downfall of him. Colby, give me the Porter Moser update.
He's gonna survive, and especially if he wins this. But 18-7, I think Oklahoma is probably gonna find themselves in the NCAA tournament, providing they don't just shit the bed the rest of the season. Kansas, though, coming off the loss, and I think the big thing we all want to know is if Kevin McCullar's going to play. Because once we found out he wasn't going to play, I think anyone that was on Kansas decided to switch to Texas Tech.
I want to know.
Yeah. So I mean, I got a strong ass offer. If he plays, you gotta take. I think you take the Jayhawks just because I feel like, I mean, how often did they lose? But I don't know. Like, that's something I would not bet this game until you know Kevin McCullar's playing. I think he's going to play because it was just a flu or something. But I still see game time decision on the sheet here. So monitor that. Kansas is 2-5 on the road this year. It's not a traditional Bill Self team. Meanwhile, Oklahoma's 13-2 at home. Porter Moser has a top 50 defense. And surprisingly, and I think the difference, he's always had like a pretty good defense. So I think the real difference is the 70th ranked offensive rating wise. That was not there prior. And that could be all the difference if they don't have McCullar. So, I mean, I guess right now I think McCullar's going to play. I'll take the Jayhawks to win on the road. But obviously monitor that situation.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas, granted they've had 6 losses this season. All 5 of them, though, they've bounced back in a pretty decent spot here. And all 6 have been, one was a neutral spot, but they're all been away. So I just don't see them losing 2 games in a row. And especially, not only did they lose, but they lost by 29 points. So to your point, Colby, this isn't your traditional Bill Self team, not as dominant as they've been previous years, certainly. But maybe that'll work out. Like, maybe they'll actually go on a tournament run here. I don't know, kind of remind me in some ways as Gonzaga, this season. But that being said, they lost by 29 points. Bill Self is firmly up the Jayhawks' ass. I think you're going to get their best effort, regardless of who's out there on the court. So I think they're going to be a dangerous animal. Give me the Jayhawks.
Rock chalk.
Rock chalk on the road. No, thank you. I'm riding Porter Moser another game, even if he's going to give the cold shoulder to Sister Jean. And for those, a little history here, we can head down memory lane. Who can forget during D-Gen Madness, when we created sport and brought you March Madness when the world canceled it? Mr. McCullar, well, he was on Texas Tech at the time, and he was as a freshman making appearances, and we were calling his name all the way, I guess 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Shout out to McCullar. I'm with Colby. He's kind of the critical piece of this game, but I'm taking the home team either way. Maybe we get lucky and he is not going to play, and then we get a banger of a spot for Moser and the guys. Wait, you're taking Kansas?
I am.
Oh, you're so confusing sometimes, Colby. All right, I'm on Porter Moser on an island.
You're coming off a 29-point loss, Ryan.
Yeah, they got their, and it wasn't like a weird shooting night. They just got their ass beat. I don't. It's not. Not a game that I would start. Yeah. That's how often does that happen, Colby?
Rarely. I would say rarely.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's losing control of the ship. Pirates have entered the vessel. All right, let's move on. We got 4 more games to touch on, including a riveting Ivy League battle for some reason. First up, Kentucky heads to Auburn, Alabama, where Auburn just absolutely smashed South Carolina and the Gamecocks. Bruce Pearl was smashing some cock. Auburn laying 9 here against Kentucky. Colby, Calipari, this is a big kind of pound my chest ego coaching matchup here. Big number. I don't think anyone projected this in the preseason. What are we doing?
I'm taking the points. This is a lot like the Texas handicap for me. We know Kentucky athletically is right there, with Auburn. So Auburn just won by 1,000 over South Carolina, and we gave that away. That was ridiculous. I just think they come back to life a little bit. Auburn's going to win this game, I think. but it's not a crazy money line play here, just like the Texas game, because I feel like athletically they're right there. The jungle is one of the craziest environments in college basketball, so they're working against that. But Kentucky plays it. They go on the road to some tough spots, historically. So I think a lot of these players, even though I know Calipari always re-ups with young players, but they challenge themselves. They play in big tournaments, back in November. I feel like each and every year. Now I know that's not the jungle per se, but it's still, they play big time opponents like Auburn. I think they cover this number, and I think you want to get crazy, sprinkle a little bit on that money line.
Hunter in the YouTube chat saying he's been a Kentucky fan his whole life. He doesn't know how much Cal he can take. Bring back Pitino.
Whew.
LOL.
What if they get Pitino's son, New Mexico's head coach, Richard Pitino? Wouldn't that be something?
Old Dick Pitino does
Dick?
feel like he's little Dick. Feels like he's in line for a decent job. He continues to keep putting together a good program down there in New Mexico. I'm with you, Colby. This Kentucky team, this is kind of the time you see usually Cal figuring out the team a little bit. 9 points, a lot on the road. I like our boy Bruce Pearl. This just feels like a little too many points for a Kentucky offense that can really fill it up, hit their free throws, hit the three. I know their defense isn't amazing. But I think their ability to fill up the cup and giving them 9 points should be enough.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, decent win against a Mississippi team, but the rest of these wins recently have not been impressive. I 100% think that Bruce, like this Auburn team, they play a bunch of bench minutes anyway. They're one of the deepest rosters in the nation in terms of minutes played, and they got to rest a bunch of guys this past game. They're going to be fresh. They're going to be causing havoc. I think you guys are crazy for taking the points. Auburn's playing good ball right now, and I think when you look at the way they're going to be able to play defense against Kentucky, and then on the other side of the ball, Kentucky doesn't play much defense. I think this is a great spot for Auburn to, like I said, havoc on defense, crashing the boards, and some good dynamic inside play. Is laying the points. You guys are getting cute here.
No way.
Yeah.
I like how you gave me a better number too, Sean. Thank you for Auburn -8. It is Auburn -9, according to Prick Dundee. We'll see how accurate he is. My model has this at 10.2 actually, so I'm getting a great value here. 5 p.m. on the West Coast. We're heading to Princeton, New Jersey, the nice part of the state, some say. Yale, Princeton laying 3.5. I would imagine this has got to be a critical game for the Ivy League, and you want to highlight it because whoever comes out of the Ivy League will be a fun March Madness play this year.
I mean, I'm hoping that the Ivy gets, a couple teams in because I don't think there should be a one bid league this year. I actually think they should get 2 in. I mean, Yale is currently in first place. Princeton's 2 games back. Princeton went to the Sweet 16 last year. Cornell is in the mix too. So, I mean, you have 3 really good teams there at the top of the Ivy. Yeah, I mean, this is a must win game. This is a must win game for them. And not only that, I think, Yale might have a chip on their shoulder because they were the 1 seed in the Ivy tournament last year, and they watched Princeton essentially, go to the Sweet 16. But I think Princeton will defend the home court well. They're 8-0. They're 8-0 at home this year at the Jadwin Gymnasium. There, check out the water fountain. I think the fact Yale's won 9 straight, I think they get caught up in the web there. Both teams elite defensively, but I think the real thing is Princeton's offense in general, especially at home. They're 15th in the nation in offensive rating. That is way better than Yale's, and I think that's all the difference right there. So let's ride. We Tigers on this podcast. Let's go.
Yeah, we might have lost Sean here, but no, I think per KenPom, 3 of the top 90 adjusted offenses hail from the Ivy League. I wonder. KenPom also has them as the 12th ranked conference out of 33, which is much higher. I mean, typically the Ivy League sits in like the bottom 10 in these types of ratings. And so to Colby's point, maybe the fact that these are Illuminati East Coast schools, we can find an at-large bid. You're not getting 3 teams. Maybe you can get 2 teams. Worth noting with the Ivy League, if you're not familiar with how they schedule the weekends, they play Friday, Saturday, and so well, it's one of the few conferences that actually plays back-to-backs. The Pac-12 does it to cut down on costs by doing a Thursday, Saturday, or a Friday, Sunday.
You know
I think,
what's weird though is this year they haven't done it as much, but I still think they're still doing it. But it's
so
just not as
anyway.
much.
So Princeton has Brown on deck Friday before this game, and Yale has Penn, two of the lower quality teams in the conference. So assuming
how dare you, Ryan?
No shenanigans happen here. I think I'm with you. I think you got to take the home team. It's interesting too, could be because it just kind of macro Ivy League take. Most of these teams are not running a tremendous amount of pace. Cornell is the difference here, and I wonder if they could potentially be the wrench that controls a game because they control the pace. But in this one, once again, I'm laying points. I'm not taking them. Give me Princeton. Give me the Tigers of Jersey.
Danny Wolf pointing out, Ryan in the chat pointing out how well Danny Wolf has been playing for Yale there. Yale is pretty good. I think, if Yale and Princeton make the tournament, that would be kind of fun. I do like Princeton. This is a revenge spot for them at home. Again, 7th in the nation at the free throw line. They run that Princeton offense highly efficient. Don't turn the ball over. Keep a clean game. And mostly it's the revenge factor. So I'll take them laying the 3.5.
You setting an over or under on how many backdoor cuts?
Oh boy,
I'm smashing that over.
There's nothing Sean loves better than a nice, other than a made free throw, a nice backdoor cut, and no dunks, please. Only layups off glass.
A crisp chest pass.
Please.
Yeah.
Follow through. All right. Make good pass equal good shot. One last nugget here. Yale is tremendously bad defending the 3-point line. Colby, what's Princeton really good at? Draining those 3-pointers.
Yes, buddy. Let's ride.
Let's go.
All right. 2 to go. Clemson, South Carolina, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. We got a little North Carolina State taking on Clemson. Clemson in a different sport. If you didn't hear, Colby, Noah Beanick and myself moved a number at the Circa about a week and a half ago, getting down on Clemson to win the College World Series.
I was on. I was on them to make not to win it, but they have a former East Carolina Pirate coaching them.
Here we go.
Nice job. Nice job.
Go.
Yeah.
Great baseball program, by the way, down there for East Carolina. Still looking on the map where East Carolina hides. Haven't found it yet.
It's hidden for a reason.
Yeah, West Carolina too.
Yeah.
There's 2 Carolinas. They're hidden somewhere in Tobacco Road or somewhere on the Illuminati Railroad. I'm not sure. Clemson laying 8.5 here against the what do you call the
Pussy Pack? They're playing the Pussy Pack, and look, how could you even consider taking the Pussy Pack? They're 3-4 on the road. They're a pussy institution, and Clemson is fighting for their postseason lives here. So I just don't understand. I put this on there because it's the one free play of the day where Clemson just demolishes NC State, wins by 11, and right off into the side. This game's on the C-Dub too, so enjoy the programming before and after. Take Clemson. They're the better team. They are playing much better. They're a veteran team. They're 9-3 at home. They hit that rough patch earlier in the year. They got through it. Recently, they've had some big time wins against Miami, at Chapel Hill for only the second time ever, and then at Syracuse. So Clemson's just playing really good ball right now. 37th in the nation offensively, and just full of veterans. That's all the difference. Let's go.
Yeah, hard to get excited about taking this NC State team, even though you're getting 8.5. Man. Yeah, I don't know. It's also I'm trying to handicap Colby's hatred for NC State and how much that's impacting the handicap. But look at NC State. Excuse me. Look at NC State on the road. Losses to Wake Forest, our team, Syracuse, Virginia. It's just not look good. They barely beat a horrible Louisville team. I just don't see them going on the road and getting much offense going here against
NC State.
So, yeah, I think
NC State only beat Detroit Mercy by 17. Part of the handicap here, right?
Yeah. Austin in the YouTube chat saying Kramer dog hiding 2 squirrels in that mustache. For those keeping track at home, Kramer could have shaved the mustache like almost a week ago, and still is. So this is just a personal choice. He's no longer paying off a bet.
I told you I've enjoyed all the attention it garners. We were out here for a business conference, and I gotta say, a lot of people saying they're gonna remember this mustache. So I'm making memories over here. And yeah, I'm not anti-squirrel, although it's candidly getting bigger than the squirrels we got out here on the left coast. This is maybe turning into some sort of possum soon.
Even the squirrels are soft.
They really, we do have tiny squirrels. You know what it is? They don't have to get fat for the winter.
Has anyone asked you to like crack a case for them? I just feel like you look like an old school detective. You know, it's like someone just gone up and be like, you know, I'm looking for somebody. Can you help me out here? They think they just assume you're a PI.
I've had a couple guys come up to me and be like, bro, stop checking out my girl. And I'm like, no, it's not me. It's the mustache, dude. Sorry.
He did. A couple guys came up and asked if they could get a mustache ride. A mustache ride over to the AVNs, assuming they were gonna do a carpool there.
Oh wow, a carpool mustache ride. I don't know. I know I have a big head and good skull structure, but that
Big
might
handle.
be too much. Yeah, maybe 2+ is going to break some sort of OSHA code. I think I will also lay the points here. I worry that we're not handicapping the handicapper here with Colby and his hatred of NC State. Yeah. But when you look at the profile, it's really hard to find a reason to get excited about NC State. I think the path for them having a game is purely just Clemson shitting the bed a little bit and it being a gross game and them staying inside the number. I'm laying it. Let's see. For those keeping track at home, I am on a tremendous amount of dogs, 5 to be total. Woo. And before we finish up this last game, Texas Tech, Alabama, Florida, Wisconsin, Marquette, Yale, NC State, all on the Discord card. So we're giving you a fat Saturday card, Discord. You're welcome. Last one. Love this late night Mountain West action, Sean. 8:30 p.m. on the left coast. We got UNLV and Nevada. Big rivalry here. The game's in Vegas. UNLV is laying a point. Colby.
I mean, first off, they hate each other. Like the fan bases legit hate each other. Don't make the mistake of if you're up in Reno and you happen to cheer for UNLV. I'm telling you, it's underrated rivalry. It's not talked about enough in football. In football, they play for that big ass fucking cannon. Absolutely fantastic. The best trophy in sports, if you ask me. UNLV's won 5 straight, but I still can't trust them. They almost lost to Fresno last night. They lost to Southern at home earlier this year. They lost to Air Force by like 30.
They won at New Mexico though, Colby.
I know they're a really hard team to get a gauge on. And meanwhile, I never like taking Steve Alford coach teams, but I do believe this is one of his best teams he's ever had. Like getting Jared Lucas, remember when Oregon State went to the Elite 8? Jared Lucas was on that team. He was one of their better players. He is now at Nevada, and he's a big difference maker. Between him and Blackshear, they have just 2 guys that can really light it up. I am going to ride the Wolfpack on the road. Another thing is the fact that Nevada lost the other night by 1 to New Mexico. So they're coming off a loss, and just UNLV's red hot. I think everything bids well for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, I mean, UNLV is a team that historically kind of shows up in spots when you don't think they're going to and seems to choke under pressure or big situations like this Nevada game. But I'm going to stick with something a previous Colby once told me, and that is always fade Steve Alford in big games. I like the fact that this Running Rebels team is hot. I get how you could fade him, but man, not at the Thomas and Mack Center here. Let's go. Running Rebs, I think, take care of business here against Nevada. It should be an awesome game. Fun late night Mountain West sweat. But give me Nevada laying the small number.
And Colby, you're taking Steve Alford, Colby, huh?
Yeah, I think this is his best team in a long time. Better than any UCLA team, in my opinion. Like veteran,
Nevada.
Yeah, because those UCLA teams are coached by Steve Alford. That's why they weren't good.
Yeah, but this is still his best team, even if you threw that in there. And yeah, you know.
Even if you threw in the fact that I guess when you are comparing him to other Steve Alford teams, you have to point out that they were also coached by Steve Alford, so that's a good counter. But yeah, no way. I'm on the Rebs.
It's easy to see a tide turn, Sean.
And Kramer, I feel like we got to get some sweet, like anyone got a lead on some sweet like UNLV running Rebs gear. I'm in on it.
Oh, I've been trying to get someone out there hook me up with you got to give me the old school though. I want that Larry Johnson UNLV jersey. All right, that's what we got to get. We got to get that Larry Johnson UNLV jersey. Or
Sean might remember this, but we and I don't know if you were there, Colby. This might predate us knowing each other, but early on in the March Madness trips we were taking, a couple times we hung out down at the Palazzo at Legacy Stadium. And for one of those events, old towel biter himself was like the honorary like celebrity hanging out and meeting and greeting. And so yeah, the old school UNLV days were certainly
Jerry Tarkanian legend. You know, he just do a deep dive on that guy's career. Can
you imagine if a coach today just sucked on a towel on the sideline? He'd be a star. He'd be sponsored. There'd be some sort of towel company.
You know what? Next episode we do, I'm going to suck on a towel. Let's go.
That's actually a funny.
Be clear, you said towel, right?
Did you say? Yeah, no. I think he said. Yeah. I think he said towel and not dick.
Where's that soundboard for? I want a dick rubbed on my face tonight. But what happened there?
We're working on a virtual soundboard. Stay tuned. Maybe we'll get some key drops loaded up here. All right, I'm on Nevada with Colby. Sean on the Rebels of UNLV.
Ooh, you guys are gonna regret it.
Maybe. I love the Mountain West. I will say the one thing that I did not know that would come of us being in Vegas every weekend, Sean, was just me really falling in love with the Mountain West. So I think we need to make our relationship closer, Colby, with the Mountain West. Please make that happen.
Yes. And I want access to the basketball.
Yeah, let's do
it. Media this year too. I think that's in October.
Kick the doors down, Colby.
Let's go. Yeah, I'm ready to dominate. I feel like this Saturday we're getting closer to March. I've been on fire lately over here, and White Tigers hanging out with me a lot, watching games. He was tearing up because Carl Weathers passed away as well. We watched Action. Have you seen Action Jackson? That's one that you got to tune into, man. Action Jackson, it's a classic.
Was it because White Tiger was a big fan of the lubed up beach scene in Rocky? Is that where the emotions were coming from?
Right here, I live right by where they ran, and we try to do the same thing. We've definitely loaded up on the beach and ran. Had the birds there too. You got to wait for when the birds are having a little bit of that water. Yeah.
You and Patty C. So imagine that scene in Rocky, but it's you and Patty C. I think.
Wait, do I blackface myself? Can I pull a Ted Danson and blackface myself?
I think you could be yourself, or Jimmy Kimmel, or Howard Stern. There's a lot of them.
That's one of the biggest bullshit scenes in Hollywood history, because Rocky is like a 5'5" Italian dude, right?
Yeah.
And Carl Weathers played for the Oakland Raiders, right? And they have the 5'5" Italian dude beat the clear, more athletic. Just Hollywood. Another one of these racist Hollywood times. You watch that, and there's no way you can be of the opinion that Hollywood was not trying to be just, hey, we got to make the white guy win.
The Italians control stuff, Colby. All right, Lock Dog teased or Lock Dog bonus lock.
Brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. If you haven't signed up with Hall of Fame Bets, what are you waiting for? Head to hofbets.com or download the Hall of Fame Bets app. Put in the parlay optimizer, really good for the NBA. Same game parlays get you covered for soccer as well. hofbets.com, promo code SGPN, get you 50% off the first month. Hall of Fame Bets. Bet smarter, not harder with Hall of Fame Bets.
Would you like me to go first? Happy to go first. All right. Lots of good chalk on the board. To me, lock number one, give me Duke. I think the number is probably going to be a little steeper, but I can't get in bed with Florida State at this time. Lock number two, smash Bruce Pearl. This team's firing on all cylinders. This is going to be a massive win for Bruce Pearl in the SEC. And perhaps this is the first nail in the coffin of Calipari. as we actually get to the end of the season here. Dog. Oh, I have so many dogs to choose from this week, Sean. Which one should I pick? Give me the buzzsaw. Texas A&M heads down to Alabama, the highest variance team in the land, and maybe they shit the bed here. Hopefully they shit the bed here. Buzz needs this. I want to see sweat billowing through that three-piece suit, Buzz. Let's get it. Defend the 3-point line. Texas A&M. What do you think this is going to be? 5-1, Colby? 4.5-1? Something big.
Yeah, something right around there, I would say.
Ryan's getting excited over there. I will lock up the Iowa Hawkeyes at home against Wisconsin, catching 2. I will also lock up who did I? Oh, yes, UConn. I think great spot for them. They roll, lay in the 8, and then for the money line, a couple of interesting spots. Kentucky, very interesting. Texas and Georgia.
Not enough dogs, Sean? You didn't pick enough
No,
dogs?
No, the problem is too many dogs. Give me the Kentucky Wildcats on the money line, shocking the world, getting it done in Auburn. Colby?
Let's lock up the Wahoos. They're going to win the ACC, and you lay the 3.5. They win by 4. All right, let's go. Second lock. I'm with you. UConn's going to just destroy Marquette. Let's lay the 8 with the Huskies up there. The money line play. It's disgusting. It's really disgusting.
Oh no.
Hook 'em. Texas going into Houston and getting that dub. It was overtime. The first matchup. They could pose some problems, I think, to Houston, and I think they're all the difference. They might be another overtime game, but we eke it out. It's disgusting. Hook 'em.
All right, and to let the Discord know in case they missed it, your card officially: Texas Tech, Alabama, Florida State. Ooh, both Florida teams. That's nasty. Wisconsin, Marquette, Yale, and North Carolina State. Only 2 home teams on the Discord card, but massive menu on Saturday. You're welcome.
Worst of luck. Any parlays we want to give out, gents?
Yeah, I've been on fire with these parlays. I think.
Well, yeah, and shout out to the chat, Chris, thanking you personally for a 6-teamer, Colby.
Oh yes, I think it's 3 straight days I've given away parlays that have hit. So let's go. Princeton. Let's put Princeton in this thing. I think Princeton's gonna win against Yale. We all picked Princeton.
Yeah,
I like that angle. And let's take. Damn, Sean, you took Wake. You're messing up the system. UConn, Princeton. How about how they say the weathermen back where I grew up? Yeah, we got a big nor'easter coming in. Let's go. Princeton, UConn.
Check.
Do we have another Northeastern team? Georgia does not qualify.
Not really. Why don't we just do? Let's not force it.
Okay.
We'll call it Route 95. The
Kramer,
Jersey Turnpike extended.
Kramer, we can ditch Sean and add Virginia to it, and that's a true nor'easter.
Oh no, absolutely not. No, I'm not doing any further investment on UVA. That's not mandatory. You can do that on your own. Princeton, UConn feels about right to me.
All right, maybe you add Virginia.
You got a cat and a dog. You got a cat and a dog. You don't have a cat, a dog, and a fucking floppy fish or a man with a sword. You have a cat and a dog. Tigers, Huskies, let's go.
Be a dog. Don't be one of those meows.
Meow. Hey, I like that as a parlay. Little Princeton UConn parlay. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. As always, hopefully you smash that subscribe button. Toss us a nice rating review over on Apple Podcasts. Keep the old pirate ship alive. Check out Colby and the college basketball experience, counting you down every night.
If you got any old bubble gum, it's got to be unopened. All right.
Unopened old food. Yeah. Colby will eat it live on cam. Whatever. He's a true cam guy. You've heard of cam girls. Colby's a cam guy. And whatever his followers want him to do on cam, he will come through in a big way. Get in on the Patreon, get the sheets, get the free pick'em contest, super fun, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Daytona for the free Daytona 500 contest. And for the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean at Second the Money Green. And he's Ryan.
Please, someone send some unopened tasty cakes for Colby.
Kramer, let it ride.